I grew up in Danvers, Mass. My whole entire life I was there on 12 Bowden Street. Really, really great childhood I have a hard time remembering a lot of my childhood just because tragedy struck early for me. When I was in first grade, my dad actually did pass away, so my childhood from that point on gets kind of hazy. There's moments here and moments there where I can remember, but growing up in the church is something that I clearly can remember, and the time spent there were always incredible. My dad was a pastor for a long time. Before that, he was a fisherman, he was an electrician, blue-collar guy as far as from what I am as could be, actually. There's definitely very strong memories, he had a big truck, and we used to, when there were snowstorms, we used to go and drive around on the icy roads, and he taught me how to shoot a gun. He taught me how to do bow and arrow. He was a really hands-on kind of guy, So we'd wrestle in the living room, all that good stuff. Love my mom to death. We're very similar, so we can appreciate that fact about one another, but at the same time, we can't come head to head because we're so alike sometimes. But she's a very strong woman. I respect her so much because she's had to deal with so much. Well, it's funny. My stepfather and my real biological father actually went to school together for a little while. They were friends, and I guess they had a lot of really serious conversations about what would happen when he passed. So I was actually the first one in my family, apart from my dad, to really get to know him. When my dad died, he kind of stepped in, and he took me to my first Red Sox game. We spent a lot of time together. I was brought up in the church. I was expected to go every week. I wanted to go every week. It was just normal. So it was like that for the longest time. I was a youth group kid. Loved going to youth group all through middle school, and I think it was when I got to high school and I started. I joined this crazy metal band, and I started hanging out with a lot of seedy people, I guess, that I kind of started doing me for a while, which is natural. You always hear about the pastor's kid is the one that rebels the hardest, and it's when something's been pushed down on you your entire life, you need to step back at some point and question. At first, it felt terrible, knowing how lukewarm I was, knowing how fake I was. I was up on stage every Sunday playing drums, leading people in worship, and it meant nothing to me, but people entrusted that to me. And I felt really guilty about that for a long time because I'd go leave church and I'd be doing my own thing. But it eventually got to the point where I didn't feel guilty anymore. It was just natural. If you're living a lie for a while, eventually that lie kind of becomes reality when it needs to be reality. So it became really easy to put on the mask. I could never really escape. It's been with me for so long. I think God was always putting people and places in my life where it was this is who you are and this is who you need to be. It was a really, really intense relationship I was in this past year, and she was a Mormon, and she would ask me the tough questions. She was really struggling herself, and her struggles kind of put a mirror to my own face. We ended up breaking up. It was a pretty nasty breakup, actually. So it hurts, I guess, in some ways, just because she meant a lot to me in the fact that we were making a lot of mistakes. We were sinning together a lot, but at the same time that I was sinning, I was learning so much about myself. He put her in my life, and I learned from her, but at the same time I was sinning sexually, and so while that physical part of me was I need to be here, I need her, it feels good when you're with her, God is showing me that you can feel good just with me. I'm all you need. You don't need sex. You don't need marijuana. All these things that have been in my life at one point as a central okay, now you can feel good type of thing. All I need is God now, and I think that's why I'm being baptized right now, because it's taken me 23 years to realize that I can rely on God even in hard times.